Now let's play with this entity a little bit. Now let's say that unlike your database in which the table name is staff, you want to use some other name for your class. So let's change the name of this class. So you select the class over here and refactor, rename, and let's name it member instead of staff. Refactor. So I used refactor because it directly changes my class name also. I do not have to change it separately. Now the class name is member, well, whereas in the database the table name is staff. So there is a mismatch between the class name and the table name over here. So what we do is we introduce a new annotation. The annotation name is table and we specify the name member like this as staff. So we are specifying the original table name over here in table annotation. This is a classic example of a concept called convention over configuration. What this means is normal default or the normal convention is the class name, which was staff over here previously, gave us the table name. But over here, only when we want to override the default, we specify some configuration. So the name of the entity now is member and not staff. So over here, I'll copy paste some code over here. And now we are creating a class of type member and we are setting some values and finally we are persisting it. So let's run this example. So over here, let's run the file. Let's check the database. So over here, let's see the staff table, select rows, and here's the new record. Now let's make another change to this class. Basically the convention in Java is to use camel casing. Let's modify this. Let's use our normal Java convention. So let's delete this getters and setters and regenerate them. Let's right click over here, insert code, getters and setters. Let's create the new getters and setters. Okay, we have to make JP understand that its default is not what we want. So we have to use another annotation for this. The annotation name is column and the column name you have to mention the relevant name in the database. So another example of convention or configuration. Basically, we have to use this convention or you can say the configuration only when the default is not what we want. Now let's see if the new configuration works properly. So over here, the example is same over here. We are not changing this because we are not setting the ID. The database is auto incrementing the ID. So over here, right click, select run file. And let's check the database. So over here, let's refresh this and here's the new record. Now if you thought there was too much work involved in using JPA, now let's make the ID do the work for us. Let's create a new project. Let's create a Java application. Let's name it my ID app. Finish. Let's create the entities, right click on source, select, and this time select entity classes from database. So first of all you have to select the database connection. We select the table, then select next. We haven't studied this as of now, so let's unselect this. Let's finish. So as you can see, the entity it created, persistent.xml, it added the libraries. Only thing it didn't add is the driver. So let's add the driver, JDBC driver. That's it. Now we are able to use the application. Let's copy the code from the previous example and paste it over here in our new example just to see if it works or not. Okay, let's somehow delete this off, and since the name is staff, it's not modified by the ID. Let's make it staff, save it, and let's make it ID staff, save it. Let's run our application. and there's an error. Okay, basically the error was the name of the persistence unit is different in this example. It's now this. So that's the name we have to put over here. Save. Let's run the application again. Okay, now let's refresh, and here is your IDE stuff. Now let's create this project once again, but this time we'll be using Maven. So Maven is a build tool. Later on you can see that, but right now you do not have to worry anything except for the fact that we are using Maven. So let's create this project using Maven. New project, and this time instead of Java we'll be selecting Maven and Java applications, and the project name is my Maven app. Let's create it. Running Maven for the first time, you'll see lots of things downloading over here. Thing in Maven is a project management file. So basically we do not have to understand anything of this right now except for the fact that dependencies in Maven are there in this tag named dependency. There is already one dependency on JUnit. Other dependencies you can add later on, or you can use the IDE for adding the dependencies. So let's use the IDE for creating the artifacts we created in the last chapter. Let's create the entity. You select other, you select persistence, entity classes from database, select the database, select staff. This we haven't selected as of now. Next, finish. So nothing changes except for the fact that there are predefined packages for storing tests, for storing your application data. Now let's add the dependency for the driver. Right click on dependencies, add dependency. Now we want to add the MySQL driver. Here it is. Select the latest version, add. And now if you see the POM file, as I mentioned, there is a dependency on MySQL. These dependencies are added for the JPA provider when we auto-generated the entity. So basically right now you do not have to worry anything except for the fact that we are using Maven for creating this project, and the dependencies are placed in the file named pom.xml, which is a project object management file. So let's run this sort of Mavenized project. So basically in Maven we usually write the tests in the test folder package, but right now let's, for an example, run this application using app.java, the running code from other chapter. Let's pick up this code, or let's see, we pick up code from this chapter. And let's place it over here. And like before, you have to change the name of the persistence unit. The name of the persistence unit this time is this. So let's modify it over here, and ID stuff, Maven stuff this time. Save it. Let's run this class. So if you're running Maven for the first time, it will download all the dependencies. Your ID will take more time because perhaps you're running Maven for the first time. So let's see a workbench. Let's refresh, and here it is, Maven stuff.